Everybody get Saw 5 to timestamp 0. I love because I'm just watching my digital copy of this one. I didn't feel like fucking with that 20 disc monstrosity that I have over there. But I love that the kind of banner on Voodoo is bald Tobin Bell. Um,
That's beautiful.
remember Jigsaw? All right,
I
everybody gets
remember.
Saw 5 to timestamp 0, and I gotta move the timer. And 3, 2, 1, play. It'll be weird that we've finished a franchise on the channel.
I know. And it's a lot of movies.
10.
A Lionsgate picture. I forget. Was Lionsgate attached to these like from the beginning? I don't remember how far back Lionsgate goes.
I want to say yes. Saw 2004. Yep, the first one is distributed by Lionsgate. So they go all the way through until they sold it like cowards.
Yeah. So it's sometimes it's hard to keep track of which movie has which opening because in some cases you have some movies that basically have two openings. This is one of them.
No, because we talked about at the start of this before I started recording, kind of the two trilogies. I love 6, but the Hoffman trilogy as it is kind of blends together. Also, I love that the
Yeah.
director of Saw 5's last name is Hackle,
Yeah, it's
and
great.
it's Hack with an
First and
L.
last. Yeah, only film he directs in the series, but before this, he was like a second unit director, and I think maybe a production designer too. So that is part of the charm of the series. Is you do have a lot of like behind the scenes folks working on these who get like an upgrade to the director's chair on one or
It's
more of these. So
it's the Nightmare thing because the Nightmare did that too.
yeah.
They just
Hmm.
continue to promote people who stuck around. He is also a second unit director slash production designer on Repo the Genetic Opera, which
Oh,
was also
very good.
2008.
And another twisted picture.
Well, that's Darren Lynn Bousman. That's
Hmm.
probably what he left Saw to direct.
Yeah, that would make sense.
So something that I go back and forth on how intentional it is that none of Jigsaw's apprentices really understand his work.
Mm.
Uh, and I get that this is
Yeah.
before he becomes an apprentice. This is what gets John's
Hmm.
attention. This is revenge. We're gonna
Yes.
find out later.
I
This
would
is
argue.
revenge.
I would argue this tracks better for me and fits better than what we do with Amanda's traps.
Okay.
I've also heard I also know there are fan theories that Amanda making the traps unwinnable is like as like a mercy killing so that they don't have to become apprentices.
It's not.
So that this and I'm like that's bullshit. That's so not what it is.
No, the thing that always confuses me is I can't tell what parts of her behavior in 3 are the blackmail. I can't tell
Mhm.
if it's just what she does at the end of the movie or if everything in that movie is because of Hoffman's blackmail.
And I will say this is immediately one of the most memorable opening
Yes.
traps. It's such a genius idea to do the pit and the pendulum, but what if we saw the guy die? Because like we never do that on screen before this.
No, this movie has that twice because the last trap is also something that we see a lot, but never the what would happen with the walls closing in,
Yes. Yeah, yeah, good call.
and it makes me cringe every time.
No, this is fucked up.
And
But
this whole
immediately,
oh sorry, go ahead.
Well, immediately we see, even though we don't have context yet, just with his tattoos, we're immediately shown, oh, this is a bad guy. Don't feel bad. He deserves this. It's fine.
It's true.
What were you saying?
Um,
Well,
Video games love to go to this pendulum a lot too. So it's like, oh,
mm,
this is what would happen if he wasn't a video game character. Because a lot of times in that, if you
yep.
get hit by it, it's just like a blunt force object that sends you flying.
Or in like the Scooby Doo movie when Fred blocks it with like a book and he gets sent through a window and then he's fine.
Yeah.
Ow.
Stop screaming. You're already dead.
Do you know offhand how many of these movies have unrated cuts? I mean, well, we're both watching the unrated cut, but I think most of them do.
I think all of them but Spiral.
You might. Well, in Saw X, I don't think has an unrated cut because like some of the gore here, I imagine is probably a little short, a little bit trimmed in the theatrical cut.
Okay, so I googled it just to check. It looks like it's just the first 7.
Still,
Yeah, that's still.
that's a lot. And you know, these aren't like substantially longer extended cuts for those who don't know. This was like the era of you put out a movie, you give it an R rating, and then we put it out on DVD with like a minute of gore put back in to help sell the DVD.
I still say this deserves it more than something like the wave of comedies at this time, which the extended cut was just
Sure.
here's more stupid jokes that we had to cut out that don't add
Uh,
anything to the movie.
Meanwhile,
At Saw
back in
3,
Saw 3/4.
I that's what I love about showing this franchise to people is like trying to watch them decipher this insane timeline. Because I had the same thing when I made Noah watch these. He was like, "Wait, where are we?" I love that set you have. I wish I had that.
Yeah, I'm glad this is the one I got. Because yeah, and I was just checking. Yeah, these are all 7 films, just the unrated, not the theatrical cuts. But that's fine. That's why I don't know if I'm ever gonna upgrade these to 4K. Just because if the 4Ks only have the theatrical cuts, then
Yeah, I need to
what's the
check on
point?
those. I am glad I upgraded the first one because I think that does have both because that got a proper
Okay.
release. And it's
And
just a
Saw
nice too.
X, Saw X, I would upgrade to 4K because it's my favorite.
Do you even own that one?
I have a Blu-ray.
Oh, okay. I need to get that one.
But this is what I mean. How this is one of the movies with like 2 openings. You have the cold opening with the pendulum flashback, and then you have the actual opening
Where we're kind of picking up where
with
the last one
Strom.
left off.
Yeah, but it's also going to be a very isolated set piece because this is when Strom is going to have the thing on his head. This is
Yes.
where we're going to get the drowning,
It's the thumbnail
the
and
water pit.
background.
Yeah. And as we talked about last time, one of the major flaws with Saw 4 is like we're introduced to Hoffman and Strom, and I cannot tell those characters apart, and there's way too many other characters and things going on in the movie. Here, I have a better understanding of who these people are and what's going on, and it's a lot easier to follow.
I do really miss the yearly franchise. We don't do that anymore.
Yeah. And I mean, as convoluted as these
Mm-hmm.
get, it is amazing that we had as many returning crew, not just crew, but also characters and cast members that really made this feel like a TV show.
Yeah, and they're able for the most part to keep it consistently, the quality up consistently. Like there's 2 Saw movies out of 10 that I don't like.
Mm-hmm.
That's insane for
Oh
how
my god.
fast these came out.
But also, and when you think of previous franchises where we were pumping out one a year, like Friday the 13th, I mean, those are completely standalone movies that like aren't feeding
Connected.
into each other with different casts. And then Nightmare is kind of a middle ground where like you will have some returning elements or characters, but then we move on.
Nightmare also has the worst quality control of any, almost any, has the second worst quality control of the big three. It's better than Halloween, but you have 7 movies and there's only 3 of them that are good.
Yeah, I'd also put it above Texas Chainsaw as a
But that's why I said
franchise.
big three: Halloween,
Okay.
Nightmare, Friday. Those are the big 3 slashers. Honestly, yeah, I would put it above Texas because there's no, well, God, do I separate the
Okay.
Texas movies that I like ironically from the ones that I think are legitimately good?
Exactly.
And Texas has more movies now. Yeah, Nightmare's
I
better than
mean,
Texas as a franchise.
yeah, I mean, Nightmare for you, that's 1-3 New Nightmare and Freddy versus Jason. I mean, that's four.
Yeah, and you're right. It's 4 out of 8, so 50%. I always forget to count Freddy versus Jason,
Mm-hmm.
and like certainly other ones are watchable. Like I can put on 4. I had a rough feeling of 5 last time I watched that. Oh my god.
This is one of the best gags in the whole series. Would you have the strength? Two questions, John. One, would you have the strength to do this? And two, would you pull it off
But the
if you
answer to
tried?
both of those is no. This is a test perfectly designed to kill me. I hate water in my face, and I hate enclosed
I don't like it.
spaces. I'd be dead. But a few years after this, my dad actually had to get like a professional trach done, and so it's wild going back to this movie
Mm,
because I've seen the real thing.
yeah,
They're nasty.
I I think most people in that situation would miss
Yes,
and would not pull
I
that
want the
off.
movie. I want the movie where somebody goes to do that and then misses and just bleeds to death. Kind of like in Saw 2, where that idiot reaches up to grab the cure and then sticks her other hand in it and just has to dangle it.
I'd like to think the police found that crime scene and found her dead body and were like, "Yep, clearly a suicide."
She really hung around.
This transition with John Kramer on the magazine that's fun. That is something this movie's lacking compared to the previous one. If there's one thing Saw 4 has going for it, it's the sheer amount of just insane, amazing in-camera transitions.
Yeah.
Because Saw 4 goes nuts with it. This is much more reserved in terms of how directed, and I could see that why that would be a problem for some fans.
Mm-hmm.
This styles back like the crazy editing and the transitions and stuff a lot. And I was right in our last conversation. This is the one where Jill gets the box, and then we won't find out what's in that box until the next movie.
Yeah. I also appreciate the fact that because the 3, 4, and 5 all take place apparently simultaneously. John
Yeah.
Kramer's been dead for like 3 years in real life, but in movie time he's been dead like 5 minutes. Because I think what's in that box is what tells her to go after Hoffman.
Hoffman. Yeah.
Which makes me wonder if he knew that Hoffman was a traitor. Why did he just do it while he was alive?
I don't know. to its credit, like the series most like this mostly tracks when you have the whole story, but I think the idea is John and why there is a this rivalry with Hoffman and Amanda is I think with the information we're presented is John wants Amanda to be the true heir apparent, but she fails her test and doesn't stick the landing and it ends up dead. Whereas Hoffman, it seems pretty clear he is always using him, and his end game is always that whether he's dead or arrested, that this isn't gonna because like it's like he does have a contingency plan. The problem is when we find out that like Carrie Elwes is around and that he's now an apprentice, like why he isn't doing anything for these movies. That's the part that doesn't track.
Well, he had to let the games play out.
I don't know why he waits for Hoffman to kill Jill, and then he's like, "All right, now I'll kill Hoffman." Like, he waited a little long there, man.
Yes, I remember now. This is the one I always joke because Connor made this point, and I think I agree with him. This movie exists to justify the end of the twist at the end of 4 that it's Hoffman who is the new apprentice. That is the sole thing that this movie exists for.
Yep.
And there's the charisma vacuum himself, Hoffman.
Oh.
Has this guy done anything outside of these? Oh, he's in that shitty Beowulf animated movie. Remember that one?
Oh.
I saw that in theaters and nobody was in the theater.
Yeah, I never saw that one.
It's not very good.
It's fine. No, I agree with you that part 6 is the best of the Hoffman saga, but in terms of how Hoffman as a character is used, this is my favorite one with him. Like
You don't like
Hoffman is at his most interesting. Sorry, go on.
just to add to your point, you don't like when he's a raging lunatic running through the city in 7.
Yeah, kind of too, because Seven's insane.
But anyway, sorry, what were you saying?
He's at his most interesting when we see his interactions with John Kramer. Like it's his backstory that I find a lot more interesting than just when he's just the apprentice.
I forgot Zemeckis directed that Beowulf film.
Yeah, that's one of those Zemeckis motion capture movies when he was doing those.
No, but that is my favorite part of 7 when it's just Hoffman running around the city like an idiot, killing people like he's in a slasher movie.
Well, and to give Hoffman credit, the coolest thing he does in any of these movies is the end of 6 with how he survives the bear trap.
I always,
I
I,
I, I still don't understand this.
I love that he whispers everything that he says. Like it's that thing movies do, especially around this time, where all the dialogue has to be whispered, but it adds to him as a character instead of being just annoying. It gives him that like I don't. This is probably overstating, but like kind of shake. There's like a Shakespeareanness to John Kramer as a villain. I think that is how he talks adds to that.
Mhm.
Why did you say that name?
That is best Strom's best line in the movie, with a fucking hole in my throat.
He should not be able to talk well after that, but it's fine.
It's fine. No, and like you said, this is where this one stands out a little for me, just because when you get to the Hoffman saga, they are so convoluted and all over the place that, like you said, it's very easy to mix them up and figure it hard to remember which one happens where. This one is one of the more focused, where this is just it's the Strom versus Hoffman movie, and that stuff I think is pretty fun.
Yeah,
But then the trap plot we get is very disconnected from that, but it's also good. So like, I'm not
it's pretty good.
complaining.
Hoffman or not Hoffman, Strom was James Gordon in that Gotham by Gaslight movie a couple years ago.
Oh,
I liked that movie, but I haven't read the comics, so I don't have anything to.
oh, yeah. No, I hated how they did the twist in that.
Oh no, is that not what it
Yeah.
is in the comics?
Nope.
That's unfortunate. I maintain that the worst one of those is Injustice, the animated movie, where
That's
out
a
of
bad one.
fucking nowhere, it turns into a completely different story that just wraps up everything.
Oh, yeah. That's one of the worst, and the Superman Red Sun one.
I
I
never saw
hate that I
that
own
one.
that on Blu-ray. It's bad.
I was watching an episode of Talkville the other day because I'm woefully behind on that, and they were talking to somebody and asked them like what their favorite Superman was, and they said Red Sun, and
Oh,
Welling was like, "Oh, I didn't know that existed. I'll have to look into that." It's always funny when two guys that were in a Superman show don't know anything about Superman.
yeah. Considering all the stuff we did mine in those later seasons, I'm a little shocked we didn't do a Red Sun episode
Yeah.
like in season 9 or 10. I don't
Well,
remember when that comic came out, but I think it was out by then.
so we didn't, but and I wouldn't put him past those to have gotten this idea from Red Sun. He's in Russia at the beginning of season 8. That's where they find him.
That's true. That is true.
And the way that that show references comic material, they're like, it's Clark Kent in Russia. What? There you go. That's Red Sun.
Yeah, Superman Red Sun was 2003, so I am a little
Oh,
surprised Smallville never touched that.
I always think of that as like an 80s book, the way it's talked about.
Hmm?
Well, and with it being Russia, like 03 feels late to do that idea. But it's unfortunate that that movie sucks.
Yeah. And then this is our second uh trap plot where it's a group of people. Uh because Saw 2 does it.
Yeah.
And then like I said, there's like three variations on the trap plots, and this is one of said variations.
And I do kind of like this setup more because that Saw 2 is like my favorite of them. I like when it's like a group of people in a house with a bunch of traps.
Mm-hmm.
There's Darla. You now know who that is. Angel's maker and Buffy.
Oh, okay.
Julie Benz or whatever. You'll know her more when we get to Angel because
Okay,
she.
yeah. Well, and like so with the Saw franchise, we always talk about primarily you have the cop plot and you have the trap plot,
Yeah.
and that starts with the first one. But then those two will start like splintering out into different subplots over the course of the franchise, and that's why four has so many different storylines. It's like you have the cop plot that's also kind of a trap plot with the SWAT guy, and then you have the other trap plot with Hoffman and with Wahlberg, and then you have the flashback plot, and then you have the other cop plot with Straub. Like, there's a lot going on in Saw 4, and this one just feels a lot more focused, where it's like, okay, you have the Strom versus Hoffman plot with the flashbacks, and you have this trap plot, which again aren't that connected, but at least it's focused
Yeah. And
and it's easier to track.
I always remember this movie, even though I don't remember which one it is, because of that asshole reporter guy that has apparently knows everything for some reason. And I do think this legitimately has a clever twist for this trap at the end.
Yes. Yeah, this is one of the better ones where they find out that each key is the same key. Like one would work for all of them, but they don't know that.
They don't stop.
No.
Saw is kind of the most cynical franchise of all time. It just assumes everybody hates each other. It's not wrong, but
Well, okay, John Kramer, for all of his like double entendres and bullshittery, I think this is one of the most fair plots he sets up where he's pretty clear. Like he gives them all the clues and they just don't figure it out.
no, and that's something that's interesting with Saw is if you look at the movies on a writing level, they're the most cynical things I think you could. But the villain at the end of the day is an optimist.
Yeah. He just wants to help people.
It's fascinating. And I'm telling you, when Blumhouse reboots, you're gonna lose all of that.
Yeah. Well, and of course, as these movies go, we make it more about the traps and the kills and making the victims more unlikable so that the audience roots for them to die. Of course, Saw 6 really leans into that, but we're mostly consistent with John Kramer's
Well, yeah,
philosophy
he's never done anything wrong
and his
in his whole
goal.
life.
But it is funny how, like, in the earlier movies, he's like, this isn't personal. And with each movie, you learn how, like, every fucking victim is tied to his backstory in some capacity.
Well, that's why I think Saw 10 was such a good idea of you have this
Mhm.
character with a fascinating philosophy, and at the end of the day is an optimist, I think, in a pretty pessimistic series. Because at the end of the day, the people in these movies don't get along. A lot of them don't learn their lesson. But despite everything, you have a character that doesn't change his philosophy of people can change. And he does it in the most like fucked up way imaginable. But I think there's something interesting about that, and that's what Saw 10 really explores, and I think makes it an interesting case for.
And I think Saw 10 hits the best balance of that, where like he absolutely is motivated by revenge, but he still on some level wants them to succeed in change. Like there's still the possibility of them
Mm-hmm.
surviving. Again, some seem a lot easier to survive than others.
Well, no, every trap in that was perfect. They could have won. John Kramer has never done anything wrong or killed a person in his life. I'm standing. I will die on this hill. Oh, that blonde lady that we knew so much about is dead.
I know.
Uh, and I had this thought too. Jigsaw, the eighth movie, has a trap that opens exactly like this, which I think is interesting.
Yes. Well, I mean that whole trap plot, it's another one where we're doing the group
Yeah.
dynamic
Well, and I like that
and
for his first trap because that's supposed to be his first big trap. And I know it raises continuity issues, but I'm saying just on paper, I like that idea of that's where he learns a lot of the trademarks that we'll see later on. And I don't think that being his first trap is the problem with that movie. It's more so the future stuff that is the problem.
yeah, but again, I don't like the way it cheats where you have like the flat screen TVs and it's just very elaborate and
Well, he's a supervillain. He
like
invented flat screen TVs. He's brilliant.
it's like he spent all his money on that and he's like, all right, on the next one, I'm just gonna put a couple guys in a bathroom. That was fucking exhausting. I need a break.
I also love the idea that canonically he goes from that guy in the chair with the knives to Jigsaw.
Yes. And now we get Strom as the cop who doesn't play by the rules.
No, the funniest thing about the cop plots in this is they don't, and I don't care about this because I don't know anything about like police work. They don't try to be realistic. It's like somebody just watched a bunch of like 80s cop movies and then wrote a plot
Yes.
based on that.
Well, it feels very procedural.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's very TV of the time, like CSI and Law and Order and stuff. But with this kind of gore, you couldn't get on
No,
those shows.
this is my favorite procedural show. Although Law and Order SVU is quickly becoming my favorite, not because I want to watch it, because every clip that I see out of context is the most insane shit. I saw a clip
Yes.
the other day where they go to arrest a kid who's at school playing dodgeball. I don't know if you've seen this, but Ice-T grabs one of the balls that's flying through the air and smacks the kid in the face with it. I was
Oh, it's
like, what
beautiful.
the fuck? Who dat? Oh, that must be his sister.
Yes.
Robert, we're learning Hoffman's tragic backstory.
Yeah. He had a sister that died. I feel really bad for him.
I don't. I don't know anything about her.
No, but this whole backstory for Hoffman, I think, is a really great idea. That he's like our first Jigsaw copycat killer, and that's how he gets his revenge. But of course, that gets the actual Jigsaw's attention,
Funnily
and
enough,
is why
still the
Kramer goes
best
after
Jigsaw
him.
copycat.
Yep.
Hello, detective.
Yeah, and there's a difference between copycats and apprentices.
Yes. I also love when we do a scene like this where a guy is investigating something, and then I guess it's a flashback, but he imagines it the
Yeah.
exact same way it just so happened to have happened.
Well, that's just how police work
Oh.
works. Like that's just what happens to detectives.
Like, did you ever play Heavy Rain?
I did not.
One of the
I missed that
characters
one.
in there is an FBI agent who has magic technology glasses that will allow him to rebuild a crime scene from nothing.
Oh, he has Arkham vision. He has
Yes.
detective vision.
I think before Arkham.
Probably.
That's something I'm really impressed with First Light so far, is it takes a bunch of different mechanics from other games and kind of repackages them in a way that works for Bond. So like Bond kind of has
Mm-hmm.
detective mode, but it's his watch.
No, I've heard that game does cool stuff with the gadgets.
Yes, I'm really impressed with how they incorporate his gadgets so far.
Oh my God, Hoffman's the Bye Bye Man.
Don't think it,
knew
don't say it.
But then okay, and then I think it's Saw 7 where we find out that Hoffman like shot an unarmed man. Am I making this up? Did this happen? Am I like wasn't there a thing where Hoffman like shoots somebody who was unarmed, and that's why the protagonist of Seven is going after Hoffman? It's been too long since I watched it.
Well,
But I
no,
don't know when that
they're going
happens.
after Hoffman because he's after Jill.
Oh, I know, but we also do flashbacks to like connect Hoffman with the protagonist and with the cop guy in that.
Oh
Because
man,
remember the first six movies kill off all the cops, so seven has to
yeah.
invent a new one.
So one thing I do think these movies kind of cheat at is they're ambiguous about when things are happening, so they can have the twist at the end that half of what you're seeing is
Yeah.
a flashback. Like if I didn't know better, I wouldn't have realized that that was a flashback with Hoffman going to that crime scene.
Oh yeah, I think that starts with 3, where there's like flashbacks within flashbacks.
I think that starts with 4 because that's
It's definitely in 4,
the
because
big
yeah,
reveal
is that it's half of it's taking place during 3, and two is still like the gold standard for that twist, where you have
yes.
2 subplots going on that are happening at completely different
Well,
times.
because that 2 never cheats with it. Like
Yeah.
when you get to that twist, you can track. Oh, this makes sense.
Well, we always joke about supervillains like the Joker, who have everything mapped out and know how everything's going to happen exactly the way it is. Saw 2 is arguably the best example of that, because in that situation, John Kramer does know exactly what happened and where that kid is,
He's
so
in a safe
get,
place.
he's in a safe place, so he gets to be a smug asshole about it because he knows exactly what happened. Like when he says, "Oh yes, there will be blood," he's not lying because he knows how shit went down.
No, John Kramer is at his best in Saw 2, where he is ahead of everybody and knows it and is a dick about it.
And Saw 2 also taught us that whatever he says, you have to take as literally as possible. And most of the heroes in these movies don't learn
And
that
they're
lesson.
consistent with that too, which is impressive.
Yeah. Saw X jokes about that, where he does that somewhere, and then Amanda's like, he does that.
I also love that the people in this movie are stupid enough to not look at those, like the places they're supposed to hide and go, wait, multiple people could fit into this.
This is the flimsiest of the set pieces in
You
this.
know, maybe I've become cynical. I buy that they do this.
Sure.
Because at the end of the day, when people are in a situation like that, they don't give a fuck about the person next to them. It's all about what do I have to do.
Yeah. And I do love how much of an asshole this guy is. I'm a little sad he gets taken out
No,
so quickly.
so I like Julie Benz' character because I like Julie Benz. She's Darla on Buffy. You remember her from season 1.
Yeah,
She's Dexter's wife in the first 4 seasons of Dexter. Great actress. Really forgettable character here. He's unironically the most memorable part of this trap, and then he dies in the second area. I also love that he dies because he's too busy actually taking care of the problem, and everybody else just scurries off and leaves him.
No, I do enjoy watching all the backstabbing play out.
Yeah. These people will eat each other.
That is one of the missed opportunities with 7 is, as far as I can tell, like the 2 people at the end of this movie in this trap plot like do survive. So it would have it would have been cool to see them in 7, like with the other survivors from trap plots we never saw before
Yeah.
in the other movies.
No, that would have been cool. Because I think the only one that really comes back other than Carrie Uwais is the girl from I think Six that like has to cut off a pound of flesh in the opening.
Yeah, I think you're right. That's like the one we bring back
I
because
also would like.
Carrie was still different.
It's too late now, but I would have liked to seen another attempt at the I pretended to be in a saw trap because that's a really good idea and a really shitty
Yeah,
movie.
yeah. I know who you are.
Also, if you're gonna pretend to be in a saw trap, maybe don't make one that sounds really painful, so that if you ever do end up in a saw trap, you don't have to actually do the thing that you said you did.
That's already fucked up.
That is where he fucked up. Apparently, his wife fucked up by marrying him.
It was true love, John.
The fire rises.
These movies have driven me insane to where like every time an extra walks in a room, I'm like, is that a character we've seen before? That's probably a character we've seen before. And I just don't recognize them.
Welcome to my world.
Because like I said, the first like six movies really have that down. And then we get to seven and it's like, oh, we gotta start bringing in some new characters because we killed everybody.
True.
Yeah, like that's why I'm just so skeptical about Blumhouse soft rebooting this, whatever they're doing, just because it's like every idea has been done already. It's like, well, we want to do a new soft reboot with like a new villain, but we still want to work in John Kramer, but like a new cast. It's like, yeah, that's what Jigsaw did, or we could do a copycat killer. Yeah, that's what Spiral did. Or we could do another prequel movie with John. Yeah, it's Saw X. Like we've done every idea in continuing this franchise.
True.
Like I think the only pitch that could get me really excited, and I'm like 99% sure that Blumhouse isn't going to do this. Then again, what do we always talk about with soft reboot legacy sequels is we always go back to the first one. So the only pitch I'd be excited about is if they said we're bringing back Cary Elwes and he's going to be like the main villain of the movie. Like this is going to be our Saw movie with Cary Elwes as the lead.
Yeah, that'd be
That would be great.
nice.
It would be nice to pay off that ending of Seven.
Yeesh. And I feel like he would do it if they give
Yeah,
him
I
like.
think so too. Because that's just one of the disappointments in Seven is we finally bring him back and he's just not in it very much.
Mm-hmm. Can you believe it's been a year since I made you watch Saw 2 on a whim?
I know. Good times.
He finds it distasteful, Robert.
I know. No, and like I said, like all of the best Hoffman scenes are when he's with John Kramer. Like this dialogue they have back and forth is really good.
No, Tobin Bell should be given an award for carrying this back half of the franchise on his fucking shoulders.
Yep.
These movies come to life every time he is on screen.
Here's the mirror of Erised. It'll show you what you desire most.
Oh no. Harry Potter is going to be in a jigsaw trap.
And remember, John, canonically, John Kramer's supposed to be like 50 here,
Yay.
according to the last movie. Dude, get over it. How fucking dare you be depressed? And like I said, this is genuinely a great retcon or backstory, whatever you want to call it, where obviously John Kramer has at least done this a few times by now. Like he's known as the Jigsaw serial killer, and having a copycat out there do something where he's like, "Well, that wasn't me," so now I gotta I gotta go after that guy and try to recruit him. And then he puts Hoffman in such a precarious situation where Hoffman's like, "Well, what if I just go to the police?" He's like, "Okay, then I'll tell them that you murdered that guy and that it wasn't me." Like this isn't gonna end well for you, however you go about this.
Yeah. Everybody deserves a chance. I don't know why, but there's something really funny about the way Tobin Bell delivers that. Killing is distasteful.
To me, it's so good.
Well, and what's funny too, and the movie never talks about this, is Hoffman's a cop at this point, I believe.
Yeah,
Because they say detect your sister. John Kramer believes more in the system that Hoffman works for than Hoffman
yeah.
does.
Well, like so, at least my interpretation is I don't think Kramer ever really saw Hoffman as his heir apparent. I think he always had this contingency plan of him, getting taken out or getting arrested, whatever. Amanda's like, well, Amanda and Carrie Elwes, they're the only ones who like seem sincere
Yeah.
in their new worldview. I mean, Amanda swallows the Kool Aid hard, where she's like, "No, he changed me. He saved my life. I'm a better person now." She just has her own reasons for going off the rails.
Yeah. No, John Kramer, I think, is the best movie adaptation of a supervillain, a comic book supervillain.
He's up there. This is redemption. Okay, I did a thing with the first guy with like knives, but then it was kind of a shit show. We're not gonna do that.
To be
Just
fair,
bear
that
with me here. I think that's just John Kramer's. I mean, that's just his go-to method, where he's like, "Okay, well, I knew if that guy lunged at me, there'd be just a pile of barbed wire behind me that he'd run headfirst into."
probably. Well, because that's the thing is, even with that guy, he gave him a chance. Like he won his
Yeah.
trap. It's that the guy
Mhm.
wouldn't.
Yeah. Okay. Now that's a line that's not gonna track well, depending on how you look at it for the rest of the series. Where John Kramer's like, "You're not a true killer," and it's like, "What? Bullshit." what's the gag with the shotgun in Jigsaw? Is it where he's like, "This is the key to your freedom" when he holds up the shell, but like the key is literally in there. So it's like what they're supposed to do is not shoot each other. What they're
Yes.
supposed to do is just open it.
Yeah.
But most people aren't gonna think to do that. Again, you have to take him at his word as literally as humanly possible.
Exactly.
But John, your audio is coming through a little again.
Man, fuck you, Saw. I do also. I will say I appreciate the way this movie builds the slow Hoffman slowly convincing this guy that Strom is the accomplice. I think it
Yes.
handles that really well.
Yeah. No, and again, you do see this more in horror than any other genre, where you have like just a very straightforward good guy versus bad guy plot, and the bad guy gets to win
Yeah.
because things do not end well for Strom.
No, they don't.
Meanwhile, back to the trap plot.
No, somebody didn't have to die. I
You
just
don't understand the rules.
I just found out my buddy Jake has not seen Gremlins 2, so I have to fix this.
Oh my god.
I don't know why I didn't show him that. I showed him the first one. But my favorite before they chart change when they're still like the Furby looking things is the one that like spazzes out all the time. I love that guy.
Yeah, he's like the Daffy Duck one. Remember the barbed wire trap from the first movie?
Oh
I don't know why they haven't cleaned up this crime scene yet. That was a while ago.
no, it was yesterday.
Oh,
Remember Saw 1?
yeah. No, and I believe this is the guy who was originally cast as Jigsaw before they got
Oh,
Tobin Bell. And
choice.
they made the right choice. Well, I think this guy, at least the story I heard was he kind of turned down Jigsaw just because he was like, well, I don't get to act much. I'm just gonna be laying there the whole time. Can you give me a part where I get to act more? Uh, that's just really funny, given the context of this rest of this franchise. They were really lucky they got Tobin Bell.
Yes. No, I don't know if this gets a sequel past 2 if you don't have Tobin Bell.
Hmm.
Because I don't think 2 is the same movie without Bell. Because any other actor having to deliver that dialogue, I think, would have just fallen flat.
Hmm.
I'm gonna kill you. Well, he got to do his acting.
It's something.
Oh my god, it's bald Tobin Bell.
Yeah, it's Soul Patch Tobin Bell. Scary.
I do actually like this look for him. Oh my god, it's Paul. I
Hi,
love
I'm Paul.
I love that the barbed wire trap from the first one. He didn't really commit a crime or it wasn't an alcoholic. He was cutting himself, which is such an early 2000s thing.
Yeah. No, like I said, if there's one thing these movies are inconsistent about, it's the qualifications for getting saw trapped. It's either you wronged John Kramer in a very personal way, you're like a horrible criminal, or yeah, you just have depression. You're just some rando.
Well, honestly, depression is dumb, so
Oh.
there's not much of a difference, but there is a difference. Remember Tap?
I remember.
We should try to play that Saw game at some point. I remember it being really kind of mid, but
No, that would be a fun one to do at the channel. That's true. That is a Saw thing we haven't done yet. We've done all the movies. It's time to do the game.
we got 2 games to do if I can get them running. And that is something because we talked about how they killed all of the cops off. Tap just, I guess, rode off into the sunset.
Um,
'Cause I don't.
no, he's dead.
How was he dead?
Danny Glover. Yeah. Well, at the first movie, he appears to be dead because he's stabbed by Zepp at the end, and then I think we say he's dead in the sequels, but in the game,
I think he's the main character in that first game, but I don't know if the movies consider those canon.
right? Okay, so the story I've heard is that so the game takes place after the first movie, so it retcons his death and that he survives, but I heard that the game has two endings, one where he dies
Yes,
and one where he lives. And the canon one is where he dies so that it doesn't fuck with the movies. It's
beautiful.
very confusing. So yes, there's a Saw multiverse. We will bring Danny Glover back.
Yay!
That'll be the next one. The Saw Way Home. But we're gonna bring everybody back.
That would unironically be the best movie of all time. You get each of Tobin Bell's haircuts, bald,
Yes,
baseball cap.
Soul Patch. Yeah, all of them. No, that'd be peak. And okay, so the guy we saw who was in the barbed wire trap, his name is Mike Butters. Again, I don't know what the source of this is. I've just there is this story that like he was an actor offered Jigsaw, but he declined. So they gave him that other role instead. Again, really happy with that how that worked. But this guy Mike Butters was apparently also in that Pepsi Man game. He's in the cutscenes of that.
Awesome.
Pepsi Man is peak.
Yes.
This is information that people need to know.
It's true.
And I do enjoy these flashbacks, just giving us more context for the other one, for the other ones, because I believe Hoffman is working for Jigsaw before he's recruited Amanda.
Okay.
We've all done bad things. They all deserve this.
Well, yeah, Jigsaw's never done a trap on somebody that didn't deserve it. When you think about it,
Even if that
Oh, sorry. What?
even if that were true, Hoffman certainly doesn't abide by that philosophy when you get to Saw 7.
No, 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 no. She deserved it.
I do always enjoy these arguments of like, hey, I'm bad, but I'm not as bad as you. Like let's decide which of us is the worst.
Yeah, it's like, come on now. Come on.
And then, like we said, 6 leans into that more with the health insurance
Mm-hmm.
plot. And then 10 is just a better version of 6, really.
Yeah. Or at least of the insurance plot. The thing that I like about
Yeah.
6 is just that I think that one does play the most with like the morality thing of he is just doing his
Mm-hmm.
job, but his job is ruining people's lives. And I like the twist
Yeah.
with it being the family of the one of the guys that he indirectly killed and his sister.
Yep.
That kid's a
It's a
dick.
Shakespearean tragedy. Yeah.
He's gonna need therapy for like a 5-second decision.
We'll bring him back for the next movie.
He'll be the new
We'll catch up
Jigsaw.
with him. We'll bring back him and Jeff's daughter. See what they're up to.
Yay.
Yeah, I mean, this is a series where there's like a very clear distinction. Of course, there's some gray area and nuance, but there's a very clear distinction between the casual fans and like the actual fans of the franchise as a whole. And you can glean that just from the Blumhouse announcement of them getting the rights and Juan rebooting it, where you have some people like, "Yay, thank God, these haven't been good since the first one. Let's get back to basics." And you're like, "Oh, well, you're not a real fan." Fuck you. I I like the soap opera weirdness of these
Yes.
movies. That and okay, not to be a dick, but anyone who like was excited by that announcement, who was like, "Oh, thank God, we're going back to basics, going back to the original," it's like, fuck you. Did you not watch Saw X? That's the best one.
Well, and I don't know. Anybody who's excited by Blumhouse getting it has not been paying attention to their output recently.
Yeah.
Like this isn't. It's not gonna be like Obsession where they just picked up a film. It's gonna be like Megan 2 or Black Phone 2 that sucked ass.
Yep. This is cold. This was a turn that shocked me when this lady stabbed the other one and is like, "All right, we're killing her." I made an executive decision.
Are you saying it was a shocking twist?
Positively shocking.
Shocking. Positively shocking.
Remember that scene in Goldfinger where James Bond threw a lady in a tub and then hooked it up to some car batteries
I
and
do.
electrocuted her?
You joke, but I do remember that scene where he grabs a woman and like uses her as a shield because that guy's charging. That's why. That's why Sean Connery is like sometimes you just have to schmack a woman around. Oh, we gotta take this stream down.
We could.
I mean, I'm joking, but I do think he actually said that.
He did. And then refresh my memory on the timeline. Is John Kramer not? When is he? Is it Saw 2? God, is it Saw 2 when like it's public that he's the Jigsaw killer? When is this found out?
It would have to be either after 2 or after 3. Because they don't find out.
Yeah.
They don't find out
Well,
until
like,
2 when they confront him.
yeah, but I guess it would be public knowledge after that, because like Carrie and some of those other characters are witnesses. So
Yeah.
we just don't really get like much of like a manhunt for John Kramer in the
I
third
don't
one.
think
Just
it even.
because...
I don't even think it becomes a plot point until this one.
Well, because in 3, he's just on a bed the whole time, and we're spending that whole movie with Slow Jeff.
Like now.
Yeah.
And
meanwhile, back in Saw 3.
So, I didn't realize that Hamish Linklater was cast in Mike Flanagan's The Exorcist movie, and now I'm really excited.
Oh.
I've wanted those two to work together again since Midnight Mass.
He can play another priest.
That would be awesome. I didn't know he was in. I forgot he's in the '05 Fantastic Four. Oh, and he does a voice in The Life of Chuck.
Yeah. No, he has a small role in Fantastic Four. He's just like one of the bodyguard, or he's like Doom's personal assistant or something. And going back to that movie now is really weird. Because you're like, hey, it's that guy. What are you doing here?
Why are you in this shitty movie?
No.
This is the third time we've seen Jeff's death.
That's why we need the chronological edit of Saw, but then we have repeated scenes like this. We don't pick one, like we include all of them, so you get like that scene 3 times in a row.
Yay. Oh, I didn't know James A. Janice was on Letterboxd.
Yeah, I follow him on that.
Oh no, he gave that People's Joker a 4-star review. It's just, that movie looks really cringy.
I haven't seen it.
I ain't watching that shit. Oh, he reviewed a movie called Thrash that I've never heard of.
Oh yeah, I heard that one sucked. Who directed Thrash?
I think you did.
Oh no, it was Tommy Wirkola. Also, I noticed on the Fandango app, all three of the new Strangers movies are on sale for like $10
Triple feature.
for all three. Like, I don't, I want to get them, but just due to the fact that we'll probably have to cover them on the channel at some point in the future, I considered it.
This is, I think, where the trap kind of retroactively becomes cool because it's where they're like,
Mhm.
oh, if we'd had all of us here, this wouldn't be a problem.
Yep. This is like one of the cringiest gags in the whole series for me. The idea of like splitting your hand between your fingers like that on a blade, like ugh. I don't like watching it.
No, it's your favorite. You're gonna watch it on a 10-hour loop.
Oh.
No, 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 no. Wait, 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 wait.
No, and I think there is like some believable problem solving here. Obviously, doesn't go great for them.
Yeah, because you're all idiots.
Yeah, well, and I like that he's the one that figures it out. Like, wait, why are there 5 slots? Like, why?
Why you
Oh,
do?
we, we fucked up. Oh, we made a horrible mistake.
This is like the most realistic Saw trap too, where you get to be like, oh, we were supposed to work together.
Yeah. Teamwork makes the dream work.
You're dead. You're all dead. See what you do, Robert, is you stick both hands in separate holes, and then you put your foot in another, and then you put your other foot in the other.
The ultimate game of Twister.
No, and I think that's something that this has over four. Is this trap feels like somebody had an idea, whereas four just feels like, well, there's a trap. There's another one.
Well, and our protagonist's lesson is to not open doors. Which blood will you give in order to survive? And that lighting when Strom has that bandage on his neck, like it looks like he has a priest's collar on.
It's because he
Like
does.
he looks like the Exorcist walking up. Oh my god, these are bad people?
No, no, no. Wait, 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 wait.
Strom, this is what happens when you're a loose cannon cop who doesn't play by the rules.
No, literally, like that is why he gets like they even believe this is because he's off being stupid.
Yep. So I think one of the things that holds this back from being like one of the top tier entries is partially due to just how disconnected these storylines are. Like I like both of them and I like that they're focused. There's just not a lot of tie in there.
Yeah, it's like two movies in one, or
Yeah.
two like short films.
Which for me is still an improvement over 4 because that was like 5 movies in one. It's about greed, John.
Oh, you saying greed is
Greed
bad?
is yes, hot take.
You are dropping the hottest of takes.
Mhm. That's how I roll. With you saying earlier about uh, John Kramer being like one of the best cinematic supervillains, like I would probably take living in Gotham City over City 10 in the Saw series.
Yes. No, I would not want to live in Sittington. I would be put in a saw trap and then I'd be dead because I suck.
John, you spend too much time playing video games.
Oh my! No! Wait!
Win the game or die. The choice is yours.
Leave me alone! I said, leave me alone! And then I just teleport out of there like Dr. Manhattan. I didn't know I could do that.
Hello, Dr. Manhattan. For too long, you.
Jesus Christ, how does that work?
He can do it. He'd figure it out. You've been too callous with your powers.
You didn't
Too
stop.
selfish and depressed.
You didn't stop. What's his name?
Oh. And then remember, I think it was in the last movie, we set up the glass coffin with
Yes.
the glass in it. And here we pay that off.
Well, and what's funny too, in retrospect, is he did all of this, and then it only lasted one movie because they figure it out by 7.
I don't know if you need to keep pushing your hand in it like that. Just let the blood come out. Ow!
I don't. He doesn't look so good.
No. And then the thing, Strom is warned. The only way to survive this is to get in that coffin.
No, what's funny
That
is this is a movie series about people that don't refuse to learn anything.
that's one of the things they talked about on the Dead Meat podcast. Was like, if you're, which saw trap would you pick to? Which one do you think you'd survive? And they're like, oh, this one. just land it. You're good.
Yeah.
That's all you got to do is lay down. Yeah, it'll hurt.
I wonder what Hoffman's plan was though if Strom did just go ahead and lay in that.
I think the evidence would though still be like mounted against Strom
Mm-hmm.
to make him look like the Jigsaw killer.
Okay.
Because like even if they figured out that Strom was set up, it's not him. Like that would still probably give Hoffman enough time to get away with it.
Yeesh.
Oh. But also, Hoffman doesn't know that Kramer has contingency plans against him. So.
Yes, we have to get more convoluted.
But I wanted more, sir. More retcons. More flashbacks. Give them to me.
Jeez, give them all to me.
I want it all.
Oh my god, it's the trap.
Oh, from the movie we watched.
Yes, remember the beginning of Saw 5?
Oh. And I believe one of the taglines for this film was "You won't believe how it ends." And credit where credit's due. It's hard to live up to that tagline, but I think they did.
I love that. Why would you shut him in there
Yes.
where you were told it would be safe? Yeah, so the primary
He's not.
tagline for this movie was "You won't believe how it ends," and then a secondary tagline is "In the end, all the pieces will fit together." What? Stop.
Yes? Question mark?
That's not inaccurate from a certain point of view.
It would be funny if this was the last one. Like, yeah, Hoffman gets away with it. It's over. Like I said, I guess it's vague on if the other guy makes it or not, but you could have brought her back as one of the survivors.
Yeah, she's star of the hit film George of the Jungle 2.
Oh.
Yeah, she replaces whatever her name is, the main woman in the first one. Leslie Mann.
It's weird. That's gotta be jarring.
Yeah, the movie's not very good if you can't believe it.
Yeah, and Strom's phone is planted here, so.
Yeah. I don't know who this actor is, but he just looks like what I imagine an FBI agent to look like.
The mustache and the Bluetooth really sell it.
Yeah.
They, they really bring the whole look together.
Oh, there's the music. It's happening.
Hello, Zep. I wish just once in these movies, like, we accidentally played the wrong tape. And the hero's like, what? Who the fuck is Zep?
No, I think this might be right under 6. Like I think this is quite good.
Yeah, and like I said, it's a divisive one. A lot of Saw fans really don't like this movie. But I think it's like a
Although
mid tier
honestly, the
one.
only
I think
ones I
it's
don't
pretty
like
good.
are 7 and 9.
Yeah, this is better than 7, but 7 does have some bad shit.
Yeah.
Stuff I kind of enjoy.
No, 7 has moments. The only one I think there's nothing in it I like, unironically, is 9. There's just nothing in
Yeah.
that movie.
Which is a shame just because, like, the cinematography is really good.
Yeah.
You know, like, on a technical level, it's a fine movie, but as a Saw movie, it's just so nothing.
He told you how to stop it. Get in the coffin.
But yeah, this is a great set piece to close this film out on. And to his credit, Strom, he doesn't go out like a bitch. Like, he goes out fighting.
Yeah. Oh god, this just watching Star Wars as a
That,
kid. You always imagine what it would be like because this is and then you see it. It's like, oh god.
yeah, like, this makes me anxious. Not like this. Ow.
Oh, I forgot how much you see of it too.
Yeah. Well, again, I'm guessing this was trimmed down in the theatrical cut.
Yeah,
Goodbye, Strom.
you won't be missed. Robert, we done did it. All 10 Saw movie.
We did it. And then we're gonna make a playlist of all these commentaries in Saw order, which will be really weird because our conversations will be in wildly different contexts
Yup.
all over the place.
I did make uh I did make a playlist of all the streams that we have done for Saw. Thank you guys for watching. If you're watching after the fact, please consider hitting that like and subscribe. And we'll see you guys on the next one.